Progress.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Finance Administration Committee for Thursday, July 17th, 2025. My name is Jim Spear. I'm the chair. Mike Solomonson is vice chair. Michael Gardini is also a member of this committee, and borough manager is Maggie Dobbs, and the assistant borough manager is Emily Pisano. And with us is Todd Bressi, the Planning Commission, here for an update. I will just announce that we're going to move Todd's content up to a discussion item after the treasurer's report. How about that? 2.5. So first, let's have, may I have a motion for approval of the minutes for June 26th?
So moved. I'll second.
Have you had a chance to check it out? Pretty thorough, pretty good minutes? Okay, all in favor of adopting the minutes for June 26th? Thank you very much. Treasurer's report, Ms. Dobbs.
So nothing of significant note really to point out. We're mid-year at this point. We also just started looking at our capital plan, starting to take a look at the budget, kind of seeing where we are with our expenditures for the year. So we're pretty much on par. There's a couple things where we're maybe slightly over and a couple things where we're slightly under. So we're just keeping track of all of that. I will note as well, we are at a period now where we're just about done with the audit. So we're going through and just evaluating some of the classifications that we've made to accounts throughout the year. And we have noticed a couple of errors, so we are making those corrections. So you might start to see some of those numbers shift, and that's just because something inadvertently got misclassified. So we're taking care of all of that now within the year, so that when we get to the end of the year, everything is buttoned up so that our audit process goes even smoother next year. So nothing really of substance, but happy to answer any questions if you had any specific line items you wanted to discuss.
So it's the outside audit that's happening now?
Correct, yes.
Okay. When do we get a report for that?
So we just wrapped up. We got the information, so I'm signing off on that this week. And then I'm not actually sure how long it's going to take them to turn around and issue the final report for us, but it should be soon.
Great. Anybody else? Questions? Okay, very good. Thank you. Let's move on to the now discussion topic, which will be a zoning recodification update from Todd Bressi. Todd, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it very much. It's nice to see you all. It's been a while since I've been in this room. So glad to be here. It's nothing like being in person. I'd like just to offer a brief report of progress on this project. I'd like to just restate for anyone who's listening online or happens to watch this meeting that the zoning recodification project, the purpose of it is to reorganize the zoning code so it's more legible, understandable, and usable by applicants who are applying to do work in the borough, by borough council as is considering, and the planning commission as they're considering policy changes. We are assiduously working hard to make it policy neutral, which means purpose of this is not to introduce policy changes in the code. We may flag some, but we'll present those to borough council separately, and that's just important to start by saying that. As I wrote to Chairman Spear recently, we had a productive meeting with staff a few weeks ago to discuss a few real critical structural questions that we had. Currently, Adam Shantz from the Montgomery Planning Commission and I are kind of divvying up the work, and we got very good guidance on those questions. And after that meeting, Adam and I divided up the next big chunk of work. We were planning to convene tomorrow, but instead we're going to convene next Friday to share our work and get further guidance. Thank you for rescheduling that meeting. At that point, I think we'll be about 75% of the way there and through most of the major things, which is thinking about how districts, building types, and uses interact and presenting that more clearly. If you'd like more, the next level of information is to say that our working strategy is that the zoning district is the entry point. It's a portal to all the relevant rules for a property. Some rules will be reorganized in the district, but it will also be heavily cross-referenced to other areas like parking and green building, so that if you are an applicant and you're interested in knowing what you can do with your property, you can quickly go to the district where your property is and find the rules or find links to the rules that apply to you. Secondly, we're trying to make all the special exceptions and conditional uses plug and play so that the language is more generalized and can be applied as desired to different districts. I think one of the substantive changes we will propose to council is that some of the special exceptions and conditional uses don't really seem to be warranted. The processes, they may just be folded into the code as regular language, or they might be strengthened with clearer criteria about how they are to be applied. That, though, falls into the substantive bucket. Per our one meeting we had in early June, we agreed that for the purposes of clarity in the code, we are going to work on splitting the downtown district, which is now District 5A, into 3 districts. One which is focused mostly on Haverford, perhaps the north side of Narberth, where we have our most walkable pedestrian environments, and have always tried to preserve those environments through uses and urban design requirements. Second being Windsor Avenue, where we have, for the past few years, allowed slightly denser development as a kind of an area for growth. And then everything else, the in-between areas like the mid-blocks of Narberth, Forest, Essex would be 5C. And so that again is because our rules pretty much fall into those areas already, and so it's just sort of pulling them out so it's more clear. Some of the things we decided in June that will help us progress is that the work of organizing the dimensional rules, like rules about the site of the building, or rules about the site and how a building sits on the site, or rules about buildings and their form and scale, will be consolidated into tables for each building type. That was a big question we had. Do those rules belong in the zoning district or the building type? And as we pulled it apart, it's easier to follow if it's in a building type. So you go to District 3A, you know you can do a single family house, you go to the single family house type and all the rules are there. It pulls apart more easily. We will...
Todd, is that just because you might have multiple types within 3A, so...
Right, so if you go to 3A, you might be allowed to do a single family house, or I know you can't, but just say twin, and then you go off on those paths.
Okay.
It's because a lot more of the rules apply to the building type than to the district. We're going to keep like rules together. So for example, even though there are separate rules for parking in the different zoning districts, either quantities or design, we're going to keep those in the parking section because it's really valuable to be able to see how they work as a group, and there'll be a cross-reference. Same with green buildings, and the goal there is we have a couple of sets of rules for green buildings to put them in a separate chapter so that council can consider how to apply those in different areas if it would like, or to modify them as a discrete thing, green buildings. And then we're going to, right now accessory buildings are kind of buried in different parts of the code. We're going to organize all those rules together into a building type. So if you want to build a garage or an accessory dwelling unit or a home-based studio on your property, then the rules are all there in one place. I think that the last thing I'll say is I think that in addition to the things I mentioned about conditional uses and special exceptions perhaps needing more attention from council, 2 other things I expect will need attention are Councilmember Galdini has discussed with the commission that we may have to have more fine-grained rules for different housing types, like 3-story apartment buildings or 4-story apartment buildings. Because we have different rules for different heights. And secondly, I think we will find as we are putting together all of the rules about nonconformities, non-conforming building on site, non-conforming building type, non-conforming use, we'd like to consolidate those so that it's easier for people to navigate. It's right now one of the toughest things for the zoning officer to work with. I think we'll find there are gaps in that section, particularly in relation to the historic district ordinance, which creates a whole lot of extra problems because of you can't demolish houses anymore in the historic district. And so I think those are places where council might expect to see policy changes recommended out of this. At this point, that's what
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my report.
That sounds great. Sounds really nice. So this sounds like something that should be more usable to people. Sounds like something that could lend itself to being an app. Like as you were describing it, I was picturing, I just choose my zoning district and choose my.
Well, you're not too far off from some of the conversations we have. This has to live in Unicode. That's where it lives. That's all, right?
Yeah.
So that's on our mind, and Maggie's good at helping us understand how that works. But it's clear that there may be non-codified translations of the code. There could be like cheat sheets for each zoning district. It could be an app, could be, I don't know what it could be, but it is on our mind that as much as it needs to be organized in Unicode effectively, there may be ways from like a communications point of view to make it more usable too. But that's like we're putting it off to this thing.
Do you envision us doing sort of the technical changes before we deal with the substantive ones, or like ending up codifying that all together?
I really, well, my intellectual answer is I really don't know.
Okay.
I think as a matter of practicality, you may want to do it all at once, but you may, as council, want to structure your discussions in a way that you're clearly saying, okay, here's the structure of the code, we're going to recommend that, and then here's some changes. But from the point of, maybe it's even, I don't know, but it might be separate pieces of legislation that concur with each other.
I mean, it seems more efficient to pass it all at
Yeah.
once, but I think my own gut tells me keeping the conversations somewhat separate and maybe having the preliminary conversation on structure and getting that sort of in place, as the first template, knowing that now we're going to discuss the substance to put into that template. It kind of makes sense to me.
Well, the reason for doing it this way first, one of the most important reasons is just public confidence. We don't
Right,
want,
exactly.
We don't
That's
want
what
the
I'm
public to think we're rewriting the whole zoning code. So we want to say this is just a translation in a new form, but here are the changes, so people can follow them up there. Secondly, I think some of the changes the council may wish to make to the code or request to be investigated will come out of this process and say, oh, there are these gaps.
Yeah.
You guys look at that, and then you can decide whether you want to pass that separately or whatever. So I can't say for sure, but that's the reasoning for doing it this way.
I think my sense is I'm sort of on the same page with you in terms of, as you said, with public confidence. I've been saying, preliminary, we're looking at just making the code easier for everybody.
Right.
And then in that process, that raises questions about whether the code is what we want it to be.
That's correct. That's correct.
I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Great. Any other questions for Todd?
Okay.
No.
Well, thank you again for inviting me here.
Thank you for coming.
I feel that these opportunities to address the committee are really critical for communications, and so thank you for.
It's helpful for us to be able
Definitely.
to tell the people who aren't in the building.
Of course. And there are touch points where we might need your feedback or advice or just confirmation that we're on the right track. So these conversations are really important. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you all.
Appreciate your work on this.
Of course, it's actually a happy spot to do this. There's some stuff I have to do some days. Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Switch.
All right, let's move on to action items. A, can I have a motion
Okay,
for?
we do need to do the treasurer report.
We did treasurer's report.
That wasn't.
Did we?
Yeah. It was very brief.
Okay, can I have a motion for to approve schedule bills for the general sewer and solid waste funds totaling $540,584.37?
So moved.
Second.
All right, anything to show us, Maggie, about this
For the bid?
bid? No, I'm sorry, the bills.
The bills.
Oh, the bills.
Didn't seem to be anything.
Anything unusual?
No, there shouldn't be anything. I'm trying to think if there's anything big that came through. Just taking a quick peek here if there was anything kind of unusual. Most everything should be routine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everything is routine.
Is Granite Telecommunications the people who are working on our internet?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, all in favor of paying the bills? Great, excellent. May I have a motion to award bid for stormwater bump outs?
I move to award the bid for the stormwater pump outs. It's set forth in the packet.
Second.
All right.
Do you want to go ahead for these?
Go ahead, you or me?
Whichever one you want.
Oh, it's your, these are your action items.
These are mine, okay. So this is, so these are the 4 stormwater bump outs. So we have 2 on Grayling and then 1 on Essex and 1 on Dudley.
Mhm.
So right where Stewart Avenue crosses through on either end there. The 2 on Grayling, they are going to be slightly smaller. So based on community feedback that we received, those are going to be 20 foot long. The other 2 are going to be 40 feet long. The 2 on Grayling, we did receive grant funding for those through the low volume road grant through the County Conservation District. So those are almost entirely funded through this grant program. And then for the bid itself, we received lowest responsible bidder was Albert G. I'm assuming Cipollone Jr. and Sons with a base bid of $78,688.85. And then we're getting about $60,000 in grant funding. So it's a pretty sizable chunk that is getting covered with grants.
Great.
So this is just for the bid. So they will be doing all 4 of those stormwater bump outs. And they were the lowest responsible bidder, and there's supporting documents in the package from Panoni.
Great. So all in favor of recommending awarding the bid to Albert Cipollone Jr. Yeah,
Cipollone,
great, thank you.
right? Cipollone?
Probably Cipollone.
Chip. I don't think it's
Cipollone.
Chip. Usually it's
Cheap. I mean, like, yeah, cheap.
Cipollone?
I don't know.
My
I don't know how they pronounce it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, let's move on to awarding the bid for sidewalk restoration. Motion, please.
I move to award the bid for the sidewalk restoration. It's set forth in the packet.
Second.
All right, and this one looks like it's going to also Albert Cipollone.
It is, yes.
Cipollone.
So this is the second of our 2 capital projects. So both of these are capital projects. So this is to repair and replace sidewalks around the block surrounding Borough Hall and Narberth Park.
Yeah.
So this is, yes, the same contractor as the stormwater bump outs, which is great, so they can come in and just do all the projects.
Yeah.
So they came in with a base bid of $950.75, and then a contingency bid of $500.25. So in total, this came below our anticipated cost. I believe we had budgeted $155,000, so this is coming in just under that bid award, or that estimated bid amount. And so again, supporting documents are in the packets.
Okay, all in favor of recommending awarding that? Thank you. Okay, D, partial escrow release for 100 Forest Ave.
Move to recommend partial escrow relief for women divorce.
And you seconded, presumably.
Second,
Okay. Yes.
So this is 100 Forest Avenue, land development. We had, our inspector had noticed that there was a concern with the sidewalk, that we went to install the parking meters and discovered that there was a void under the sidewalk where there should be compact stone. So perhaps something settled after the sidewalk was poured. Either way, we identified that, and the property owner went in and had a contractor backfill that area and re-poured the sidewalk where they needed to. That has been inspected by our engineer and has passed all inspections. So that is good at this point. That means that they are requesting then the balance of the escrow related to the sidewalk improvements. There are still a few outstanding items that we need still from this land development plan before we can consider it closed out. The final remaining items are the as-built plans and verification that the monuments have been set. So relatively minor things in terms of actual improvements that we would see physically on site. Those are now all done. The sidewalks have been restored. So this is just a escrow release in the amount of $3,415.50. There's still, like I said, the two outstanding items plus the 10% contingencies. So we still have an escrow balance remaining of $15,494.40 remaining on this land development plan. When the property owner finalizes everything, then they'll come through for a final escrow release. So this right now is just to release that small portion related to the sidewalks.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, in favor of approving escrow release?
Yeah.
All in favor, great. Okay, may I have a motion for authorization of payment of advance deposit for Amtrak bridge construction? Ooh, exciting.
Right, joyfully.
Yeah.
Move to authorize the payment of the advance deposit for the Amtrak bridge construction.
Second.
All right,
Not joyfully?
this sounds great.
Joyfully second.
So this is really the launch of the project after many, many years of discussion. We are now ready to move forward with this project. So this down payment, advance deposit, I should say, represents 10% of the total construction phase cost estimate in the amount of $735,014. This is something that was outlined in the execution agreement that was signed last year. And I will say, for the record, we were able to issue the notice to proceed a little ahead of schedule. So that was actually issued yesterday.
Oh,
Yay!
nice.
So notice to proceed has been executed, and then we will submit our deposit with Amtrak. This is also just reimbursable down the line as well. So we're just looking for authorization to go ahead and get that money out the door. So we are going to do a one-time wire transfer for this money.
All right.
Fantastic. This is very exciting. Okay, we're going to vote to authorize this, right? Yeah?
I
don't know.
really want to agree.
Okay, great, thank you.
Giving me a heart attack over here.
What gave me the heart attack, just as an aside, was, I don't know if you saw today's Inquirer, but apparently the feds pulled the fund. I don't even want to
No,
say
I saw that. I saw it the other day.
Stop.
Pulled the,
Stop.
okay, you see it?
Oh, public broadcasting?
No.
Yeah,
For the
we'll talk about it after
For
that.
an infrastructure project downtown.
Let's move on, please.
Yeah, there you go, already committed.
Okay, moving on. Authorizing finance payment for new police vehicle.
So moved.
Second.
All right. This is a good one too, right here.
This is, yeah. So this is a really excellent deal for us. So we already had in our capital plan to purchase a new police vehicle for the chief of police. He's currently driving a 2011 Crown Victoria that continues to have maintenance issues. So we continue to throw money at this car to fix it up and get it back on the road. But in the world of police vehicles, it's in the Stone Ages. So we were offered this opportunity to do advanced financing for a new police vehicle. So it requires only a down payment of $479 this year. And then we have 12 months financing at a rate of 6.73%. So all they're asking is a single payment of $60,899.14. This does also include upfitting for the police vehicle. We can save a couple of dollars if we do multiple installments. So since we have this budgeted for 2026, we can pay the first installation in January 1, 2026, and save a couple bucks on some of the interest if we pay early. So I'm gonna plan to do that to save us a little bit of money. But all in all, this satisfies our capital planning for next year. And the benefit is that we get to take ownership and title of this vehicle now. So we get the car now, and then we get to decommission and then sell the old Crown Vic. And that way we have a working police vehicle ahead of schedule, but the financing doesn't need to come until next year. So this is a really great opportunity for us.
Yeah. So do we have it now, or is it?
No, we have to call and finalize the deal. Yeah,
Let's see. All right. Oh yeah, that's what we're doing here.
that's what we're doing here. Didn't want to jump the gun.
It's us. Forgot. Okay. So all in favor of authorizing the payment, the financing payment. Okay. Wonderful. For the new police vehicle. Okay. G, appointment of property manager for 201 Sabine.
Move to recommend, wait, do we have, where are we?
Right, how do we, we have
So,
two.
We do have
we
we
have
have two offers.
offers, so we have to,
Is it us who has to recommend one over the other, or?
If you'd like
well,
to.
if we'd like to, but how do we articulate what we're moving? It really should be a discussion.
So the way you would do it procedurally is you would make a motion on one of them, and then if you want to do the other one, you can either withdraw the motion or just do a substitute motion.
Okay, so, I don't have the exact names here, sorry.
I'll move to recommend the first one in the
The one
packet
is-
is mainline executive.
We have
Realty.
Mainline Executive Realty or Geis Realty.
So I'll move to recommend the appointment of Mainline Executive Realty as the new property manager for 201 Sabine.
Second.
Okay.
Discuss both.
So from what I understand, Mainline, they were our property manager years ago.
Yes.
So they're familiar with it, and the same people still work there, or at least one of them still
Yes.
works there. Yeah, so he knows what he's getting into.
Did you talk to Jean this afternoon?
I did.
Okay,
Yes.
so she did clarify a little bit of that history.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently there was a breakup of the partners and we went with one and not the other. So it wasn't based on the quality of their work and whatever, according to our former Borough Council president, they were fine as an entity. So any concerns there, from my perspective, got resolved from that. And I'm sure Jean will tell us more at the bigger meeting this afternoon. My understanding is you were you thought they were thorough and,
Geis was more thorough
oh, guys.
in the inspection process.
Oh.
She also had the benefit of having the just availability for the tours. There was a larger tour that Mainline was a part of, and Geis was a solo tour, and she was very thorough, and asking lots of questions, and taking a look at everything and talking about talking out loud how they would manage the property.
So, but Geis is possibly connected to someone who's interested in purchasing a long-term lease.
Different arms
Yeah.
of the same company. So Geis Realty, this is the property management arm versus the brokerage arm. So yes, they're in the same umbrella organization, but they operate kind of on different spheres.
Yeah. You have no preference one over the other?
It's hard to say, only because I had limited interaction with either. We have the proposals in front of us. the benefit of the Mainline Realty having been here before. But I did hear, I also followed up with some other folks who were here, and just about the level of autonomy, that they were reliant on Public Works, like calling on Public Works to take care of some things. So if we were to go with Mainline Realty, I would want to make it very clear that they are not to be calling us for routine maintenance. The point of having them in place is that they have contractors that they would deal with to take care of the property, as opposed to calling our Public Works.
So you feel that hasn't been really covered yet? That understanding hasn't been reached yet?
Well, again, that would just be something that, given kind of the short turnaround time, we haven't had a chance to really flesh out. So we received the proposals, but in terms of being able to kind of have additional conversations or negotiate further, that has not yet occurred.
Yeah. Well, what do we want to do here? I mean, I feel like
Maybe we want to see what the rest of council, we can say we're moving it forward without a recommendation.
can we do that? Just have
We don't have to
a
make a
larger
recommendation
conversation with the rest of them.
You could if you wanted to.
I think that I feel more comfortable with that, so I'd like to amend the motion to say that we'd like to move forward both the bids for the appointment of a property manager for 201 Sabine.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you very much. We'll talk about it later. Later tonight. Okay. May I have a motion for approval of Human Relations Commission charge ordinance changes?
I guess I'll move for the approval of the Human Relations Commission charge ordinance changes, with the caveat that we have to discuss some feedback that I got from Mr. Walco to finalize those changes.
Yeah, and I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay.
So do you feel like we'll be able to wrap them up in time to?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what they are, and I think we can substantively, we're not voting on it tonight, I'm reporting on it
We're not
tonight
voting on it tonight.
at full council.
Is that true? It's not on the?
It's on the agenda as a discussion item, as an update. I very deliberately did that because I knew that we had to take care of this first. So, so there were two things. One is, remember one of the primary things that we wanted to change was, I'm going to switch eyes now. It's very weird again, who's ever watching. One of the primary things that we want to put in was source of income discrimination as a protected class, which we were primarily doing for housing purposes. Unfortunately, there is a Pennsylvania Supreme Court case that was brought by some landlord group that John forwarded to us that basically said, look, to the extent that that implies that people have to participate in like the Section 8 housing program, a federal program, a state program, etc., because that's the only way that source of income can be considered. You can't do that because you're forcing people into a program that they don't necessarily have to or want to participate in. So the question is, we either have to say source of income and then write an exception that says nothing herein should be construed to require anybody to participate in any particular funding program that would relate to source of income. But as John pointed out, that exception could is going to basically swallow the rule. Unless we care about, like, your mother-in-law is going to be the source of funding. If we still want to cover that, but that wasn't really our intent when we were talking about source of income. We were trying to do it to allow people who are getting government subsidies to be able to rent. So the question is whether we write the exception or we take out source of income altogether. I know. Sophie's choice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so that's one thing you have to consider, and that's why I couldn't put it on the final agenda for tonight, because we either have to talk. I think we should talk about that in front of full council, quite frankly, because, like, I know Cindy in particular, this is something that she really wanted to advocate for, and I think she needs
Oh,
to understand what the issue is here. And I didn't have a chance with the surgeries to sit down and have a chance to talk to her about it. So that's one issue, and I think council as a whole can decide that. The second issue, I'm sorry, I took my notes and one sec. Oh, we didn't explicitly put in the code the part of the charge would be, to allow the commission to hold seminars or instruction on the ordinance. Like the Philadelphia Human Relations Commission, actually the Philadelphia Commission on Human Relations, actually does a great job of going into communities and educating about things like implicit bias or, what your obligations are, etc. Our ordinance doesn't specifically have that as part of the charge. John pointed that out. I think it's sort of been implicit, but he's like, especially if you want to down the line dedicate funding for it, you should probably put that in the charge if that's part of the scope of the commission, which makes sense to me. It's like, a paragraph, I think I could easily write. So I don't think that that's controversial at all. And certainly, I think we've talked about that. And he's like, you should actually, if you want that to be part of the charge, we should actually put in something there because it's really focused on enforcement, right? And violations and not education. So that's the second one. The third one is just a technical one, which is the procedures talk about expanded procedures, which then have to be implemented by resolution by the council to be in place. They were implemented by resolution by a prior council, and he's saying technically if you're putting out a new ordinance, you may think about wanting to pass a new resolution to say, yes, we accept the expanded procedures. That's recodified. So that's really a procedural. Gotcha. Rather than putting something in the code. So it's really the source of income in the education one. I think it's not controversial, but it's the source of income one that sort of threw us for a loop a little bit. So
I hate to lose that.
I mean, I think in practical, if you put the exception in, somebody could still potentially challenge it under the statute. John was like, you might still face a challenge if you leave it in, even if you write the exception. But, so it's, anyway, I think that's what we have to discuss with council.
Okay.
So.
Thanks. Any further discussion here? No. Okay. Great. So how do we dispense with this motion?
I think table it, right?
Yeah. Move to table.
Yeah. Do I have to move to table the motion?
I think we just agreed by consensus.
Okay. Tables. Okay. Approval of board and commission's appointment policy. So, let's have a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So, if you all got a chance to look, there's been another edit. It reflects pretty much what we're talking about. Last meeting, cleared up a bunch of concerns. I'm happy with it.
Maggie's happy with it.
Everybody's happy?
Great.
All right.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Excellent. Okay, let's vote. Great, moving that on.
Thank you for your work on it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks
Both
for
of
your
you.
support.
I know there's a lot.
Thanks Natalie too.
Thank you.
Last action item, appropriately, dumpster license agreement. Can I have a motion?
I'm sorry, so we're actually gonna table this one.
Okay. We're gonna table that one. I see. All right, no more action items. Discussion items. We're gonna check in on Shade Tree Commission, which I expect is probably still pending, right, for later in the year?
Yes.
Shade Tree, okay.
Yes.
Planning Commission, we did his presentation earlier. There aren't any others at this time. Is there an update for website newsletter?
Since you asked, I talked to Kelsey earlier today.
Yeah.
Just to check in. We are, basically, they are done with the mapping. They're doing some, what did she call it? Basically like the technical checking to make sure it works and everything. Probably we will have it ready for beta testing and review by the rest of council in the next couple of weeks. And roll out tentatively at the end of December. Yeah, so things are really moving along. Basically, we're just waiting for them to finish all their technical stuff. We did run into one glitch already that they already fixed.
Wow, this is great.
Importing some
So much getting done.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's moving along.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks to Kelsey too for working on that.
Yeah.
Seems like a big job. Cash fund reserve policy?
I don't have anything as of this time.
Yep. Any other ongoing projects that we know of? I don't know of. Public comment? Anyone in the room wish to make any public comment for finance administration? No. Anyone online?
No.
Nobody online. Okay. No public comment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning? Thank you. We are adjourned at looks like 6:46.
6:43.
6:43.
All right, come.
Yeah.